asemu then Chama 91.9 ene kasafidi a uti ewodu nkwa ono fin mantamu na eduru anwumere se ne yetransia no onum mpamu na abono nsiamo ye san ye kono ye chance no onum mpamu ne yewie no nsiampamu ntinum ye den nsema horo na ebesom enne ye wa wore ho pa Ghana nyina enti ensem no pi ne ye bre wo ne ye mu ni se Wani ewo adanse brofu yedu echirem chese arupre
na Rashid Tanko so kasa chirem chese na yo my Ghana nyina aro akoda na wanim sana nabu ache wo fi Afghanistan dia
na and the new patriotic party wana omede to omanyi munti
eya no mo watwe a wo moto yeyi wo mo yire no mu bi no mo nsam a mo ka nyina ne se galam se ya hudumade nti e no mo kuru no mu wuye enti yenyai
ande ye no kure na mbom aketesia ne hoye o kumase o ja yare pa
Abrantia miracles aboaje so kasa chirem chese wono de yokofo mre ne krata bia
ensem bika we hune de bra was no mpa mo kase bo na yeda wasese wasleti ese na mawana radio station ne wo Ghana ha nyina na wutie yen mo amwa manone mo amwa miamia hodo nyina ntinu wo mo ebiri mu de wo mu din aba $10 awro mu tie yen so de mo ase YouTube ni de de Nshaman TV into ba so for de madaro mo tie chiri wa ha bibia ram ye hu kama pa ewo TV ni so ho nti de Nshaman TV bori nyina bom sa bom se ye ho kama YouTube na afi no X internet we da na ye de Nshaman one as in figure na mekan modern Ghana da musa enti nkoda saa so na website ye de Nshaman radio ko ma betima kan bi go ho de we nipa information center wa fire wa to pete saa so na Dr. Momo information center no ewo de Nchadwumam adom bi approve information center president I some say Rodeka Sabaria and da so information center ewo de Nchankoti mi so Rachel of Rachel Babin sa mfum ma route e de kesim na namponsa wait and get wo control man so wo de kesim me chere na about ne so azeman ewo emi sakrum saa so na yewuramu am na as I could also wo King Lord hotel opposite nanim wa na yesem ono so bi na wuti ono ne man na busuan for the Nshaman listener teachers association of Boa Ampunsim na ono so 80 Boa so na flash phone se wonfum Chanel cash collection is average chapa bi ono so Boa junction kwa asumdwe phones ne woni aka ina da ma se ma fa yen a mo to pete aka kan fo nyumre eye ohene ejikum tabono enemy din afi
tribu de hema ya ofruwa kasedi tremu enie
Nshaman radio yedienie
no kure yedi eni entafina ya wodia enye yandia wo awutie en wadaro ma adwuma wura bia fide de ma wo nti wo na abeboa ye matumi atim ye da wase waboa ye nsa kwan ne so ensem nkyeremu ene se enada ya ye kasai eye osna aboso meto so ensia e wa afempim ne de no ensia mum na ukuwa da bi no mframa kura eboba no no mo se eye den ma won se obetimi kura mpo atie saa emframa no kura ne hwa na mu awre ho sem a wo de ato yen sentwofo anim awia no ye de besom wo na nwumre nso na efiri ho eba wo se eye o ma awre ho ankasa ewo sampotem ho a wo mote no na enam se mpanimfo de ahyenso bi si ho nti wo mo ni bo ahyenso no so a na mu bisa say nipa ye beje de en wasase so
nya no anam so be 2 minutes no ye be hu de be ko so nti na fra no nti mi du abonti no na nkofo de nya na me se sa de a me enko top o enko nko ye bi mi so edi kan wo nti e ko no na class no asia ya mpa me pa cho me ko de na nkofo ho a omo ho bebre ba se na yete no aloko a amna bia no nti untumi nko emeja no so nti untumi nko wo kwa wo so kura wo be hwere wo nkwa nti wo se na te na yetutu edugu so because we be pon so nsuo ni wo bibia ni wo enti na den me akasa me ko ho na incident na sim na me nukuro no pampa ni no me bia na ekoso ho nti me ba akwa me be yare endo ase ye course ro me akwa de me kaya na misu
plane ekwa na afi o nyina wo inside ama ekwa ro hoi afi asuje fa no mo ban nyina sa so mu na mu nyina fo so ti ba wo ka kire se ntinu ni awai sometimes papa de na sie wi nti wusi ni bofa wo so kra na wunya bia wo bedika nti hono so no amena so nti wunya bia wo du na besi nti e boy ho modinga kran nti ko pe kuku beto amla ye besesa mo na e pake o mu nyina bu mu na chichire na enyina ye swai me we me nka se me we ho na me dia go me we ho pa ya skamambu fu ya pa timbachora kram smith miaka
o se me twemu ha na se me hu sabe body ya na me hu ya papa no ne nua no na titiri youth na ewo mu no me nka se obi awu nya ya na emu youth na ewo mu te se sam awaje mu se no de bia me hu pa na me ya mahye we kire se itwa se nipa bia no wo ho a ututu anam si se na be ya ba bia betu obi ya no betumi anya nkwaje
enti asem no senye wa awreho a na menim nya wofiri awo ba ya awreho sempa ewo my Ghana mu abrichi kese ebo ye na finhia na ene ewumi Ghana mampani excellency John Dramani Mahama wore ne mampani abedi akire excellency professor Anaje no Poku Ajiman empanifo ahodo ebam ye yi bru ye demfi wono ene wo ye bambo so afo abedi akire ya se owo ho a na mu de oje ochirihwefo no Dr. Kasi atoba afo san wes kasam so afo ewo my Ghana empanifo ina baaye ya je so mu ko hia ye koye wosom sabre kura make say ya ye ba be wura kase ebodem ha ye na afi na de friend say cenotaph na cenotaph no say ya hyeda aye enna ya eno no onipa bia nnem na enso ya na gina hyede de siso a de ye nkaidum entinu eno wo mapa ho ntoma kura mpo awie mprempren ya na ye wura kase bodem ha ye de kase bedi abre wo na John Dramani Mahama Ghana man pani chem chese no kura nie ya de bia ha adwen pa kansem kakra fa ho.
Today is one of those days when a nation deliberately slows its pace, not because history demands it, but because memory does. Exactly 1 year ago, almost to the hour, on the morning of 6th August 2025, Ghana awoke to news that none of us would have wished to hear. In a single tragic moment, 8 precious lives were cut short in a helicopter accident while in service of our nation. Some tragedies unfold quietly within families and communities. Then some tragedies touch the conscience of an entire nation, and this was one such tragedy. The silence that followed that announcement was unlike any other. It was a silence that was filled with disbelief, grief, and countless unanswered questions. It's just like yesterday, and all of us can remember that moment and exactly what we were doing. It was the silence of parents who had lost their children, spouses who had lost lifelong partners, children who would never again hear the reassuring voices of their fathers, colleagues who had lost trusted friends and comrades, and a nation that was left struggling to comprehend such a painful loss. Today, a year later, we gather not to relive that pain, but to give it meaning. We gather because remembrance is an obligation for every grateful nation. A country that forgets those who served it slowly forgets the values on which it is built.
na mampani John Dramani Mahama tuwa ne kasa yesu a wade tu dwa kire mu kire se we no mu watwe ya wo hye won koya ya yi wade ni so ade huru pinua na akwakwasha da kamnam enima pinua na esi wani so ne dibra ne de ama wo mo ene nwa na montu na wo mu tu a enam so ma wo husani esiye wo se wona da yeso ene wandwuma pinua na nke wo se wo ye no de so amai Ghana nom entimi anwie se ne na wo mo pan na so ne nyina mu anno de awade pe ene wo ye.
It affirms that sacrifices matter and that service is honored and that lives dedicated to the nation will never disappear into the shadows of history. The 8 Ghanaians we honor today came from diverse backgrounds and diverse professions. They had different dreams, different personalities, and different stories, and yet they were united by one common purpose. They answered the call to serve God and country. None of them boarded that helicopter expecting that it would be their final journey. Like countless public servants every day, they set out to perform their duties. They left behind unfinished conversations, appointments they expected to keep, families they expected to return to, and dreams they believed they still had time to fulfill. That is perhaps the greatest lesson this anniversary teaches us. That life is fragile, that service is sacred, and tomorrow can never be guaranteed. As president, I've often reflected on the enormous sacrifices made by the men and women who dedicate their lives to public service. Much of their work goes unnoticed. They travel long distances. They spend countless hours away from their families. They endure difficult conditions. They make decisions under pressure. They accept risks because they believe that Ghana's progress is worth every effort they put in. And too often, we celebrate such service only after tragedy strikes. Today, we must resolve to appreciate public service even as it is performed daily, to appreciate those who labor faithfully, often without recognition, because they believe in something that is greater than themselves.
Na no na mampani John Dramani Mahama editu aso wo kasa no wo kire mo kire se abusua wo ma hwere wo ma de hye weindom wo ma wo mu nyina yakọ.
To the bereaved families, permit me once again to convey the deepest condolences of the government and people of Ghana. I know that no speech can erase your pain. No anniversaries can fill that empty seat at your dining table. And no ceremonies can replace the voices that you long to hear or the embraces that you still miss. You've borne your grief with remarkable courage and dignity over the past year. In doing so, you have reminded all of us that love does not end with death. It endures in memory, in faith, and in the lives we choose to live thereafter. Please rest assured that the nation still mourns with you. Your loved ones did not die alone. They belong to all of Ghana, and Ghana will continue to remember them.
Na empanifo se oduma nkoma wu ekum wo na ne wagya so wode wobakwa won na ho mo nkwanti na chinye dabida esanse ne yesi no yawrowosem na empanifo tachema moja ya mene bi ni apibia tuogu eno ntinu ya na ya mene bi ni apibia tuogu nso ampa yentimi nsuma ni nsuo nsa nipa nwotwe efiri mu wono wo mo abusuafo baaye bekasa kakra wo saa finhia na de ase na Dinwa na just empanimfo a wo free mu wonom wo srafo ewum na anala ni nia ne pesi anala ebe kasaye na wo chemche se wonom bibia wonom nia ne wo moade nyina peta anala na wo ye obi a wo somboma wonom yie pa busuemu yehia no wo ma ya dabi woni wo mpo a ye betwede telefone ya frɛ no ebisa no ntenne ka won ka wonom honom se obi ka se emmo kunkunkum wo wonom akoma mu a na eyentro na wolmudi
at the interfaith service on the helicopter crash victims. Permit me to stand on the already established protocols as I deliver my message. On behalf of the Anala family, I sincerely thank His Excellency, the President of the Republic, government officials, security leadership, clergy, traditional leaders, friends, and everyone present here today to remember our loved ones who lost their lives in the tragic helicopter crash on August 2025. Today marks 1 year since our lives changed forever. Though a year has passed, it feels like yesterday. The loss of our beloved Peter Bafami Anala remains profoundly painful. His silence, his absence can never be truly filled, and every day reminds us of the huge void he leaves. Peter was more than a pilot. He was a devoted husband, a loving father, a caring son, dependable brother, and a pillar for our family. He served this country with dedication, professionalism, and honor.
Na chese wenu Peter some to job of custom minanum modern one pen for so boy any origins of Mariama one nomin Pempensua one more bedroom Dr. Edward or Mane Buama Nabusiani any Charles or Henny Inti and watch him just say many miniasem Cassia me come on about so watch the same I have thought of the man coma sounds idea name will be with my year or Bank Masia fast the money or Bank was than you at the mount and African man penny penny for Hodo and Modia Boy our jensem yeseka fra enkumkuru nanso eya jensem ezim na mu no yadamwase ni amode yin abedu
in the early 2000 as a young IT professional, I was asked to assist a distinguished former minister of state with a phone. To my surprise, it was the then former minister of communications, now the president of the Republic of Ghana. What began as a simple technical engagement became defining moment in my life. Counsel, compassion, and genuine concern left lasting impact on me. Ladies and gentlemen, the same humility, care, and empathy I experienced then are the very quality our president has demonstrated in supporting and comforting the families of our fallen heroes today. True leadership is not revealed only in moments of strength, but also in moments of compassion.
Ni awote se okasai no ura cha Tia ora ye du e mane bo ama wen baby cro nkane so afo a oheba mbo nsem so ye maim wo na woka edomi hu o free mu wo na wakasai Flight Sergeant Ernest Ado Mensa ne busuani ene Mercy Amoa ene wo chire mu chire se yawo obi ka se bi anya yawo boa yawo papa ne so meko na wo hu se dem yakoma mu ye deje na mpremfo kan se wiasim ye bodu adu krom wo kwaye mu asabia me se be nya ado ejeje wodaboni ni tirim enti aba ne se ne yanko wani yerim ye koso ye ntrim ni akomam na yaso so asrafo adwuma dom ne mpanimfo ahodo mampani be wie dom ahodo ina ne aban mu efo so ne moya mayenti eyawreche e de mayen abribia ye fanisa.
Your Excellency, Honorable Ministers, distinguished officers of the Ghana Armed Forces, family, friends, and all gathered here today, good morning once again. Today, we stand 12 months removed from a tragedy that still feels painfully near, a day that completely altered our lives as a family. For us, it was not only the loss of a husband, son, or brother, but a painful separation from a force that stood by and with us through every season of our life. We stand here today with hearts that still remember, still mourn, and still honor the life of our beloved husband, son, and brother, Flight Sergeant Ernest Ado Mensa. Over
Well, Jumedia Crono Asiano, and our Samuel Abuja and the baby Crono and Hokania with Janet. Mame Angelina Salami, Sokasa, Richard Mutra Sem. Esan Sana, Bayashman Nunklanum, as Wamoko was said and said, now Wamoko did Jumedia show Kokra Nunina, Aquania Wafa Swam, Wakun to Qua Etia, Yagalam say, yeah, from a good year bimo, Etunuquan Banusu and Muan and Yanam Swa, Emma for fear Antwatay. Now I can't be a match, let's say. Watch them say I was a bino, and as a yebu aqua, Sasha Yana Bani Bugua Comono. Well, better be a boy, Papa to Galam say as a senior bay, one more free mono, a best woman in Munyam.
1 year ago this morning, Samuel left for Obuasi. Obuasi was never just an assignment to him. It was his home, his people, the name he carried everywhere he went. He was going to fight for the land. He did not come back. Before he left, he said to me, "Take care, babe. I love you." I have tuned those words every day since. I no longer hear them as a goodbye. I hear them as an instruction. Samuel was 34, the last born of his father's house, a boy who grew into a man who never hid his faith, who worked hard, who loved loudly, could fill a room simply by walking into it. As deputy director for NADMO, his work was to reach people of the worst day of their lives. He did it well. But before any title, he was my husband, a father to our 2 girls. I will not stand here and pretend the year has been easy. Grief does not get smaller. You simply grow around it. There's a chair in our house that nobody sits in. Birthdays came anyway. Christmas came anyway. And our girls still ask me questions I do not have good answers for. But we have not carried it alone. To His Excellency, the President and the government of Ghana, to the Ghana Armed Forces, to the party, to NADMO, to the people of Obuasi and Adansi, and to every Ghanaian who prayed for us and refused to forget. Thank you.
Na enwetri no na we Emmanuel Papa Sapona wo gina ye Dr. Samuel Sapona wanya ne ba bi kura busu ne nyina na mu so kasa ye akasa chirechire mu a chire mu se no kwasem ne wo mode hye no na wo ye nipa bi a woni mu de papa na afei wodo no my gun na eni se wo kwakoto na mu ya fofianto ata asasem mu nyina esiye na so ne nyina mu no wo mu de masem emarade.
Remarks on behalf of the family of the late Dr. Samuel Sapon. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, fellow bereaved families, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I stand here before you on behalf of my family and as a son, remembering a father whose absence we have felt every single day for the past year. Dr. Samuel Sapon lived a life of service. To many, he was a public servant, a leader, and a comrade. But to us, he was simply that, our father, mentor, source of strength and guidance. 1 year has passed since that painful day, yet his memory remains alive in our hearts. We remember his humility, his love for family and country, and the values he instilled in us. On behalf of my family, I express our profound gratitude to the government and people of Ghana and everyone who has stood with us throughout the difficult journey. As we remember our father, we also honor the other 7 precious lives lost alongside 8 lives, 8 families, united by one shared love. May their service and sacrifice to our nation never be forgotten. May the souls of the departed 8 continue to rest in perfect peace.
We ene dia na natabuno kan ye ni nyina Africa se na hyase mum ebe pem ne pompo so aduro no eye nne afihia na ye die ede ma ewu amem nwotwe a wo muti na nanom e wonse do helicopter mutim ekwa crash ye ma mo shi se aduro be ya wehosam na so ni nyina mu ano de awade pe ene wo ye onyankopon enfa wo kra ensie ye ye to kase ne som na yakoye nim ewo ensem fofo mu
nyanso bata ho de se wi asem bari fo si obi numa pio na bi nuru wi moguo enti abrabo mu ogun monten so wo mo nante se eboko ene se ye nyina ye wo man gana man ye nyina ye dia ene ye wotu aba wan to aba wotu aba untu aba ye nyina wo man no yetim a ye dia obi nche obi emra ya hye anse ebu mra so ne so wo mo timu amu mra bi ya so ne so aban ye ba ye die ase wo mo ho ye aban ne tane e ma bere bia so ma ye wia entinu abri bia wotim ma wore basa e wo man mo no mse da bi na emperefo de won na oham na obi hweri kura ni mfa ba nwum enu ntinu o mo ntena se nyanhwe ha e ma aban ne ntete mfa ahodi yesu sa na no oda ye to man Ghana mu wo mo si o aban e ba ye nu wo mo atwem ko no ana mo mutu ye ma bo man yika frefre nkofo ye sika fa wo mo nsem nidim kakakara mo so wo mo de sa na ye buru nyahwe mo fra ye nkofo mo mfra won wo mo so wo mo ko bu wo man no buru ya nke bia ye mfra won afa wi akire mo frɛ ya sɛ be ya frɛ ko be gya mo be fie asemaranko wo hwim hyehyɛ be hye wo no anya asam ketewa ni nyina ankoda nkyɛn wo mo pɛ mu ba ko asante mantem dwamtire ni de membi ba mane ko ya wagye din kyɛma runtumi afa wura ya tumi ayɛ bɔkɔ wa dwuse nsoyinu na hyɛ nyina gufie ɛmɛnne wɔda ne de fie adan a wachi mu kire se wa kotu fuma gudiye na kwan ofa aso oje ma obi nso koye ho adwuma mu obi nso kotuye na obi abamu woni de ayeti amra ntini won konkodam samre wura yihye mu din afa ba ko nso chem je se wono wadi sika ewo mo soma mamuwom emre bi atwam wo ye dina asem waba ye fa ne nkotum ye kote ya ese akotare ndista no msia saa nyara ma diam se bodi ye nkona kodunku ho obi nim da abanche ho ba se man kamfo abaji din enu nti saa wala bona mo bodi ya ye beti ho agumbonten so wo mo ye kire pa ye kire mu nyina nkoda nchen no wo mu koduru abaya tena ye wo mu de bi kokoto a na chi ebi ne bi Supreme Court ena afa so no wo mu ko abaya tena ye wo so mo hwe ani mu se Ghana man president Excellency John Dramani Mahama anka wo hwe mra meje enye wo no mpo a Julius Debra abaya nkwa ya hin wo hwe mra meje wo mu biara ensi ho a mehwe wo no mu anim hwan na eba yi a wo mo nkotwe mu ti a presidential staffer na ya adwantoa no mo se hwe ehin no se na amben ya wo na wo ba da yenye eba sakon bu yimtia nti eba asa no na abufu asa ba pa ema owura Alexander Fedemakin ogina mu a wakasa eche se enye buo kra na wo mode ma wo mo se ebeba ne saa.
I want to say, Madam Staffer, that please convey government that the history of this country tells us one thing, that no political party stays in power forever. You promised creating jobs, 1 job, 3 shifts, 24-hour economy. Promised that electricity tariffs will be lower. You promised that cocoa prices would go up. Today, we're seeing the opposite of it. Instead, you are bullying, intimidating your political opponent. Why should Wontumi be in prison? What has he done? How can a judge say that he having a lease allows somebody to do galamsey, so he's vicariously liable, so he should go to jail? We all thought Wontumi was involved in galamsey, not knowing that was not even the charges. So you put him in jail 20 years. You remove the Chief Justice. What did she do? Because you wanted to capture the judiciary. And today, as all judges are on vacation, the government has directed the Chief Justice to give dispensation to some judges only to try matters involving MPP activists. That is wrong. Again, Iyoko, what the Iyoko is doing, they invite you, you go, they say go and bring property worth millions of cedis before you are granted bail. Very onerous bail conditions. That's also wrong. So that, with great respect to you and without prejudice to your presence, to nominate only you to come amount to disrespecting us as a political party. I'm the leader of the party in parliament. You have the general secretary of the party here. You have the chief of staff of the flag bearer.
Honorable Alexander Fedemakin dom dodo the dom kumano mum ban dani na reso wode nsemetuja ne nyina no nchirima horo de ntia aban wo mu ama wo mu so ati hogu monten so nom ban sana na ya adwantoa ya wo no wo mampani na huna tana ya bibie ne omugire mu ehwe man wo nom na wo so ejire mu je krata anom na nye dom kumano ya kyere nyina echi no wo de krata kumano nye nyi mu yem diye na so na wo munni akwanu asan bi ya de fa so ne wo so modane man wo wode ji nso je ye no wo kyere se o anya se bi aja woje nom woje akoto atwene baabi da bi o mampanifo ahodo e wese wo monsa ka no wo monsa ka ne mu anu ye bia ne mu ana muntu ya e wese wo mutuo mu wo monso e de abana na ya dwantoa.
I thank them for bringing this petition, and I do assure you that it is going to get to the president, and this is democracy at hand. If the MPP today has been able to come to the Flagstaff House to present their petition, then I'm saying that democracy is at its ultimate. Everybody knows what today is. Today is the day of memorial for the 8 gallant youths who fell. And I'm happy that honorable leader is saying that I am a nobody. But I want to assure you that I'm a senior member of government, and this petition will directly get to the president. And they should also remember that in this country there are laws. There are laws that is put together to help us regulate our lives and our being. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Ni awotesi wakasai na ya janto a oye presidential staffer.
Ayi wasasem krono mu no Era wa shi tanko so kasa kire mu kire se wadaduna asem bi hu a wonte ase kire se wobi ansi MPP fo kwan se mo nya ye kire ntia ban nanso ene na wode won ye kire kwose ye no adai wo mo ntia ma ga na mu anam na mo de nipa ko wo bisa ne sansem wei aye yi wana na bia ye henu na naboache a wono na aboabo dom na no de MPP amanyo ko na no ada ya enu ya wo sanso ko gina ansam trefo ni mu aka se fa hom ene de yakwaso we ne ewo mayi mo eye da nya akia ne ke eye ye kire no ebeba so enti ene ono na asema wo bisa ne se wono ya shit ayi na bi no wanya Ghana ni ana of Afghanistan ana Somalia no free adenti na nne ewe no mu nwotwe wo ma free mu wasa na ma he mu an ye hunu wo mu na nyina mu annom ayo mo kra no wo ma hwere na nne mpanyifo so hyese ye de kai wo mu ne mpo se ye mpanyifo ko na hyese ye na ye de kai wo mu ye ne ada ye de kai wo mu ye no ye wa wehuo mu ye sufre wo mu ka bompa ye che Nyankopon se wo fu wo mu ntu ba bi ye fu wo mu ntu ba bi papa na wo haru na naboache wo kwada so de yi a wo se enne na o ma ni mu nyina ya yiye na se ye de mo ne no sa na no na de ba ye kire de ma yi wo ye sa de a wo nya de ye guso ye ho man ne no ye nsaka ye bebo ana wo
na dem se dia ye na ayibibi ye ho ntini ye ntoa so won semfoforo mu na ye mfiri tankodi so na ye mra yanka se de aparenche po ye mansi mu anopai enkomodi national agenda so ye bo amane ye se ba aparenche po ye mansi mu a wono mu a wo mu eye mu ba amani ade we ba ye na aboa Ghana for pa ene ye meni nyina di ho adanse ye se abri bia ye na mo no ye nsuru ne hia ne se ba be bedu bia ene ye watu na abro so na mo be se aduasan ekobe se aduanan ubi ne ba bia san mani bi ewo no wakwa yi usika na wo kronti mpempi kra na maye mfasika pi ense ebotum ne nso kwa ya ye nuanom ne ye maye ofa ase ene ye yire mo ne ekunu mu no we nkra kromfo de wo fa so ano aye din dia maye wo badun kwa ono fia estate ya no ewo mfuom eno akete esi a wonya mfie aduonu enan 24 year old Grace edu enin ma kese akromfo mabunu a mo ho odin ye wo senka mo pa adwuma ye no num no bone a din se mu sa no a na wo de bafo si no so ewo estate wo mewie chiri no wo mo gi ni sika ekuta no wo sade bafo ewo ne mfe ewo ne nofo ase a dunko aban asabia kura ntimi ansum gbo achi din ko konfa no chairman ya asabia nukuri na ye hu ama ye mpa ma wi aka se bu mo kura na ya wi esem nti etiti ni hwede nsisu yi nti na ye nhwede hu ni se wo firi mu na wote ase na enso na mpa ibu mu na ye wo na dumara kwa ma ye ne wo no aka se ne nua ba aye friend Stella edi nkomo eni ye Stella yes se wo ni die mu a ye echi ni ye da ye na wumi ane ho te say no wasi ya da mo asese mo de bia mo kan ye ho de nchema radio minua edu eni ne ho ye Grace ho ye pa adom ne nti na emom ne ye kire ne say afi na ne ho aba ne ho so kakra ya yesi ade wutimi kasa doctor fo ahwe no ma ma ne bibi kakra nti no wada na ne ho ye pa ene yesu ene ye de urade ase ye nti Stella ene ye nkomo bone kakra mra
ni wache ba mi no edi no boy no kra dede ni ka ho ne ade nti ne refi no what say Grace edu eni mbasani wonya mfie be say mo
24.
Is there no to say? Oh, hence is here because Nankam Pesame Cohen Hospital, but asking an test somebody no confirm.
Oh, yeah, confirm emergency. I said, here, quote, make a sacrament, no drink.
Oh, okay. There's a walk out confirm you. And but the one in my main and
my sister, penny for the last.
Mungu no why no estate for being facing.
2 to 3 years so.
And that's why I too.
Oh, I too, but and
a boys and so like when you move
boys in the school, no one was no marks into a woman.
It's no way saying.
Me too.
Enti na ye say awahosem a ekoso ewo we edumu onye mfie aduonu ennan ye wo no sekan ne motuom ya ene wo konfa nochi DSP Simon Boavu ayemre ye mo aju
ya minia
me ba cho mpom ye bokode
anya me dia che na no so
Nyankopon da ro ma ye ho ye e ba ne se ya ebobo be wie mu nan so mpacho mwanya mrante ho mpopo ye bi motimi a chi obi a mususu se wonim ho bi na se na mo bambo nsem na muntu ne kwakudu
yo medasi masasa kwenya so che watiefo se BBC sana ansa police kwa binya asutire na che se asi amomu ayeden adwane ansa bi ya ate won popuye kura na yakọ ho said your work enra me ankasa na ma matia me na chi kakra ti bo na number bi frame say the IC ni no bi na de me number e dey e ma no tintemara na me frame me crime officer no ni petrol team e dey e call say omukọ na say omukọ ama ababa wan say number municipal hospital anum nti omudi achire eba ho no mabeto say ampa sekane de ya won ba kuminu ya won ba sabasa mekasa de we pra emodin pa na anamo ye tu de ye nka no webejom mekasa akra me crime officer akra me tene hwe mo ma nti masan ba me te office ba betwen so beba no de amane pra de abebo me nti egusu de ye nhwehwem
na DSP ade ba ko a medie yadwuma ase ene mo na yegbo mu kakrakra mene ma so ato fom ne se akwere de se onipa di bonefo sem se enu a wo mo anu mo tim potem ni nimpa so mo pese ombe na ma ana mo mu nhye da hu ni sa
minia ai o how kesi aye wo mu no da bia menya akonya ya na me se yese ebambo agima enye police ne soja ne omo ya bambo agima na aka ne nko a timamufo sabi yati enye magicians na BBC na eduru on ma ebi wagisi ehwiehwia na obehwiehwia no wonim se nipa so masi a mebisa no wo bibi fa wo pa obebie na odi ne side ato na no obisa no a onka hwe because enche busangala ya ona ya mbeka se yakum obi aiden ato ono ndi ankasa meka ho ma ya aiden yekoye ndi yekoye no ai ahwehwe mu no utu se ai primary crime scene, secondary crime scene, otuti omeru ose matwa makwandem. Nti eba sana sabi enye police na wo de omo ye ne se omo di kan ba ho honom ene obedi dwa kakra